People often waited for a big change to arrive, but the truth was smaller and closer. Begin now, not later, and the day will open. This was the lesson Maya learned from a tiny lantern that looked ordinary, yet helped her do what she kept delaying. Maya lived in Sundarpur with her parents, and she dreamed of passing the nursing school exam, yet her days slipped like sand through loose fingers because she watched kites on the terrace, pressed the pillow for 5 more minutes, and promised herself she would start tomorrow, which quietly turned into next week. She admired people in town who walked with purpose, the teacher in a crisp sari, the young constable with steady steps, but she did not keep any habit long enough to grow, and the gap between her hopes and her actions made her feel heavy and slow. At the edge of the village lived Shanti Dadi, a retired nurse who rose early, swept the veranda, stretched, read a few pages, and watered small plants. And although she had no bell to obey, she moved with a calm rhythm that looked simple and strong. One evening, Maya asked why she followed the same routine every day and whether it was not boring to repeat it, and Dottie smiled as she poured tea and said that a day was like a field, because if you did not sow in the morning, you would stand in the evening and ask where the crop went, and that habits were the seeds that decided the harvest. The next day, Dottie placed a small brass lantern in Maya's hands and explained that it had no magic because it burned for about 20 minutes when the cup was half full, and that the rule was very clear. Light it, and, while it burns, do one habit only. Then when the flame ends, you may stop or continue, but you must not break the light. 20 minutes sounded small to Maya, yet she felt safe enough to try because a small step did not scare the mind, and the promise felt real in her hand. Before sunrise, she lit the lantern and opened her first aid book, and although the room felt heavy at first, the steady flame felt calm and honest, so she read slowly, underlined 3 useful ideas, and wrote 2 neat notes before the light went out, and the tiny wind made the next start easier. On the second day, she tied her shoes and walked circles in the courtyard until the flame ended, and on the third day she read again, while on the fourth, she stretched and wrote a short paragraph about why she wanted to be a nurse, which was not perfect but true, and by the 7th day her legs were still stiff, yet her mind was quieter because she simply kept the light. To protect her focus in the evening, she added one more helpful rule by placing her phone in a small steel box while the lantern burned, and it was not forever, but only for the time of the light, which kept her hands from drifting and her eyes on the page. Weeks passed like gentle pages, and if she missed a day because of a wedding or a long errand, she returned the next morning without drama, and sometimes she stacked 2 lights for 40 minutes or 3 for a full hour, which made the steps small, but the days feel larger. A notice then reached the village that the nursing school exam would come in 6 weeks with a short fitness round and a written test, and while some girls crammed late and others boasted loudly, Maya added 1 more light to her mornings and 1 more to her weekends because the rule had become a quiet promise she could keep. On exam day, many girls sprinted at the whistle and faded quickly, while Maya ran at a steady pace that looked slow at first, yet lasted until the end, because months of small steps had taught her where to place her foot and how to breathe through doubt. During the written test, some students searched their minds like dark rooms and felt lost, but Maya opened clear shelves in her memory, wounds and bandages, pulse and breath, calm steps, and although she did not know everything, she knew enough, and her hand did not shake because practice had already met the page many times. Weeks later, a letter said that she had passed, and her parents stood in quiet joy as she ran to Dottie and held the paper up like a flag. And Dottie's eyes shone as she said the lantern was only a mirror that showed Maya her own light. Maya kept the little lamp on a shelf above her desk even when she did not need to light it, because it reminded her that motivation had started her, but habit had carried her. And when her friend asked how she had changed, she answered with a simple truth. She did not change in one day. She changed by keeping one small promise every day until it became part of her. Moral: big change grows from small habits kept daily light. One habit for 20 minutes. Repeat tomorrow, and let time help you. If you like this story, give it a thumbs up, comment below on what you learned, and share it to inspire others. See you in the next story.